Okay. I want to do this. I want to do this sharing today on this Hermetic teaching on God. Okay. Now, one thing I want to share first of all is that everyone has to discover God in their own way and define it however it works for them. What I'm giving you here is one thing, a very vast thing, mind you, but one thing to consider. Okay. And this comes directly from the Hermetic teachings in the books, pretty much Hermes Trismegistus, which is a set of 3 books. Well, actually, it's called Thrice Greatest Hermes, and it's by G.R.S. Mead. Okay, and it's a set of 3 books. Quite a number of pages in each book, probably about 400 or so, and a lot of Hermes teachings to his student Tot and to his students Asclepius and other various students. Okay, and I found it in there when I was studying this many years ago. And I thought, no, this is the best description on God that I have ever found. Okay. Now, who is Hermes? Hermes is a Greek god, okay, who is a son of Zeus in Greek mythology, okay, and but he also was embodied, okay, probably more than once. He's also known as the god in Greek mythology as Mercury, the one with the wings on his shoes. Okay? So this you're going to write down. Okay? God as the first mind, M-I-N-D. Okay. Now understand that what Hermes teaches here is that God is everything beyond anything that you could possibly even grasp. Okay? So when we come back to God as the first mind, or Nous, N-O-U-S, okay, God is pure mind, the absolute eternal consciousness that exists before anything else. God is not a person or a form. God is the source of awareness itself, the origin of all existence. Hermes teaches that God is pure mind, the absolute eternal consciousness that exists before anything else. God is not a person or a form. God is the source of awareness itself, the origin of all existence. Okay? Did you guys hear that? Okay. Okay. When the divine mind becomes aware of itself, it radiates light. This light is the first expression of God and contains all potential. It is intelligent, alive, and the foundation of creation. The second emanation, life. From the light emerges life, the creative, animating force of the universe. Life shapes forms, fills the cosmos with energy, and drives growth, motion, and evolution. Life becomes the creative activity that organizes the universe. Life becomes the creator, the force that forms the heavens, sets the planets in motion, generates all things, all living things, maintains cosmic order. Okay. Now, he says that God, the one, the absolute, beyond all form and limitation, created the mind of God, which is called Aeon, Aeon, and also eternity. Okay? So therefore, God is none of those things, and all of these things that we're going to talk about all at once. Because you cannot identify God through any identifications that we can become aware of. You must identify who God is through the spark of light within you when you connect to that understanding within you. I mean, I'm saying that. This isn't saying that. Okay? Okay. Then there's Nous, Nous, which is divine mind. God's self-knowing consciousness, the first emanation within eternity. Then comes Logos, the word, the expression of mind, the ordering principle that shapes the cosmos. And then the cosmos, the living image. The universe is a living being, moving image of eternity. So therefore, the cosmos are eternal. Okay? All right. Now, the teaching on the human being is not in there. That's as in a book called Poimanders, Poimandres, and Disclavius. Hermes teaches that humans are twofold: the mortal body made up from the elements and the immortal spark of the divine within the soul. Because of the divine spark, humans can know God, rise above fate, return to the divine mind through knowledge and awakening. Okay? This is the heart of Hermetic spirituality. Okay. So I'm going to email these papers to you afterwards. All right? So that you can have them, so that it's something that you can look up, draw upon, learn from, whatever you want to do. Okay? And so one of the other things that I wanted to bring up was I was watching these shows on YouTube where they are the Mesopotamia texts. Okay? And the Mesopotamian texts are the clay tablets that have been hidden, and they're just coming to light. I mean, they've come to light for a while, but they're still not all there. And they're being, interpreted. Okay? But in there, they have a teaching of the Anunnaki. Has anybody heard of the Anunnaki before?
Yes.
Has anybody not heard of the Anunnaki? So everybody's heard of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, can anybody tell me what they've heard?
Aren't they the ones that were the people that came from a different planet? Or are they the ones that were the angels and the women got together?
Okay, neither of the above. Both those are falsehoods. Okay?
Okay.
The Anunnaki were gods. Okay? And what they did while they were here was they liked the resources that we had, and so mostly gold. So they were mining for gold, and they didn't like doing the work themselves. So they created an army of human beings to do this work for them. Okay? They had a sage, okay, whose name was Adafa. He was a sage priest of the Anki and Enki. Those are the two names of the Anunnaki. There's been a lot of misinformation put out there that the Anunnaki are ETs and that the Anunnaki, or they are not ETs, but mythological. What is it called? What did I just say before? Angels. They're neither. Okay. When I first met Raphael, and he was teaching me about creation by the angels, okay, he showed me that it was done in one level. They created whatever they created, and it still didn't have the properties they wanted it to have. So they set that aside, and they did it again, okay? And once again, it still didn't meet the criteria, and they did it again, and it still didn't meet the criteria. So the point I'm trying to make is that these creations had to have realms to dwell in, okay? They couldn't just annihilate and destroy them because they were part of their creation. Okay? And so many of those are known as gods in these different realms. Initially, they were allowed to come and interact with Earth. That was later changed because they were taking advantage of human beings. They were taking advantage of mortals. Okay? I can't tell you exactly when that was changed, but I can tell you there's laws in effect now that you have to have permission to go from this realm to that realm to the other realm and so on. And that's why they always say with the ETs, they have to have permission to interfere or affect human beings' lives. So what I do is I take all this stuff and I try to find a way of piecing it together to make some kind of sense for me. Okay? Because I don't believe that you're going to find the truth written down in one place. I also studied theosophy. I also studied the interpretation of the Vedas, okay, through the teachings of Blavatsky, which are very in-depth, which are very complicated, which are very high intellectual understanding, and you would have to, really question yourself on are you understanding any of this? You understand that? Does everybody understand that?
Yep.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is there is no direct route for anybody to understand who God is, except through your own spark of divinity through in you. Okay? Does that make sense? Questions? Comments? No arguments. Questions and comments only. So these are the things that when I say you need to have things to meditate on, these are things to take into meditation. Okay? Like, what is the mind of God? What is the light within? What is divine mind? Okay, these are questions to take into meditation, okay, and get answers for yourself. All right?
Oh, Athene, how do you want to tie the Anunnaki into that?
I'm not going to tie it in. Okay? I don't feel like I can figure out where that belongs in there yet, other than they were gods that were created in one of these other realms that Raphael was talking about, and they came and they did their what do you call it? Mischief. And they weren't the only gods that came and did mischief, by the way. I've met a few myself that I've had to help Red Cloud remove from this plane of existence. So make no mistake, they're not the only ones who have created their own mischief here. Okay? Do you have a way of adding that together somehow, the Anunnaki and what I said from Hermes?
Well, just in a literal level, the structure both of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam comes from the Anunnaki-related writings in the Sumerian tablets.
I understand that, but all these things that I'm giving you are before any of those religions came into being.
Oh, sure, but
and so
the point is that they are a source.
I want the group to look into as far back as they can before they start looking into religions that have come out of.
Oh no, I'm not making the point of focus on those religions. It's just that what they brought and what's in the Sumerian tablets, you know, it's framing everything, even the theosophy, all of it.
It doesn't frame
the first framework.
Where the angels were created. It doesn't frame where the angels were created. It doesn't frame where the other gods were created.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I didn't get any of that, and I watched several of them, so you'll have to point that out to me. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. So anyway, my point is these are things that you can take into your own meditations, okay, and see what information you can get. This is how I pretty much have learned everything. Okay? One of the things I learned a long time ago was nobody outside of me was going to give me the information. It was going to come from within. And so that's what I teach. And that's what I believe. And that's where my classes learn from me. Okay? Now, I don't have a teaching per se of any one thing other than how my light operates in my life, how my learning operates in my life. And this is why I don't try to tell people what they should learn or how they should learn it. I try to share the tools that I have found to help them to find what they're searching for. Okay, everybody got that? Mm-hmm. Okay. These things give you understandings that have been around and taught way before any religions came into focus. Okay? I've also gone into studying religions and their correspondences. And I won't get into that today. I'm not a religious person. I learned that when I started finding spiritual teachings and moved beyond the need for religion. Praying, meditating, okay, anchoring the light, okay, being centered. This is very important. Learning what it means to be centered. Okay? It doesn't mean what anybody thinks. It means what works for you. When I come into my center, it's like everything else goes away. There's nothing outside of me anymore. When I'm in my center, I am aligned to my cosmic higher self and my soul. When I meditate, I am within the everything that is nothing, that is all that is. I don't see things, I don't hear things, I am there, wherever there is, and that's how I meditate. I didn't always meditate that way. In the beginning, I worked with guided meditations. Guided meditations are a big part of what I teach because they helped me to reach higher levels of consciousness within my meditations. If anybody knows other forms of things that can reach that level, please share it. I'm all for it. Can you reach those stages in your meditation where you no longer exist? All that exists is the energy of the core of your being. Can you? All right. When you can, then you don't need me or anybody else anymore. Okay? Okay. I read this stuff. I studied this stuff some on those Mesopotamian texts, and there were several different people and interpretations. They weren't all exactly the same. So if you're looking for symmetry, any place in particular, I doubt that you're going to find it. Okay, there's a big understanding and teaching that people are coming out with right now that is talking about the divine feminine. Okay? I also have the book, the Nag Hammadi. Okay? The Nag Hammadi is the left out scriptures of the Bible. Okay? That they talk about Sophia. They talk about she who was here with him before the world was created. It's the only place I found that teaching is in the Nag Hammadi. Okay? I read and study some of the Gnostic teachings. That's another area of looking into that can be very, very educational. And so I tell you all these things because this is how I figured out whatever I figured out. And so these are places that I think you can find some answers. Okay? One of the things that I discovered the other day, I was watching that guy that channels, what's his name? Deb, you know who I'm talking about.
Lee Harris?
What's his name?
Lee Harris?
Huh?
Lee Harris?
Lee Harris.
Yeah, Lee
Channels
Harris.
the
Okay,
I like
one of
him.
the things, and Lee Harris is pulling in thousands of people. I mean, he's just doing awesome work.
Yes.
Okay? He is doing phenomenal work. Okay? He said that to take every day, every single day, write down at least 5 things that your gratitude or you have gratitude for that day. Every single day. To see how this changes your life. Okay?
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty powerful. I think that's pretty important. That something that simple could actually change your life. And so I've begun implementing that into my life. Because I already had implemented gratitude, but not in that way of every day having to sit down and think of at least 5 things that I'm in gratitude of today. Well, what does that do? That brings everything into the present moment where you're at. Okay? It enforces it in a way that it wasn't enforced before. It anchors it in your energy field. Okay? Now, the last time that Saint-Germain came and talked to me was a while back, but the first thing he said to me was, I said, I'm working on my gratitude. And what Saint-Germain said to me was, I am in my eternal gratitude. And I was like, oh my God, okay? I don't know how you get there, and I'm not sure that's someplace I'm ready to be. Okay? But I'd never heard anyone say that before. Okay? So I know that this gratitude stuff has merit. I might have something up here. Let's see. I asked my angels a question. Let me see if I can pull that up without. We are going through massive planetary energies, and that's not going to stop. That's going to go on. There's no end in sight. So anybody who's thinking things are going to get back the way they were, get over it, because that ain't going to happen. There's no back the way they were. A lot of what these people are saying that I'm watching on YouTube are saying that we're also in a time that we can move completely out of stages of our karmic understanding into freedom on a total level of being while we're here. Now, that's a really big deal. I'm not sure how I believe that, because I've been dealing with my karma my whole life. So I can't imagine, skipping over. Oh, gee, I just think I'll skip from here to there, okay? But because I think that's what they're saying. Anyway, but I do understand what they're saying. I mean, a lot of them are saying that a lot of this is due to the Earth raising her consciousness, and a lot of them are saying no other planet has ever done that before. I'm not sure if I quite believe that either. Okay, but once again, it's what's being said. All right. It is said that the Galactic Federation is here. Well, that's what I wanted to tell you what Raphael had said. Raphael had said that the galactic beings are here because they are armies of the angels, okay? And they're here because they needed armies to assist in awakening as many people as possible in a short period of time. And he said also that a lot of people are put off by angels, whereas they won't be put off by ETs for some reason. Okay? It's like, the angels in them, they don't need to be worshipped either. They don't need you to fall down on your knees and adore them or anything. But a lot of people get very intimidated by the amount of unconditional love that they emanate, especially if you've never been in the essence of unconditional love in your life. It can be very, very overwhelming. But that doesn't mean don't call upon them. Okay? The angels, I work with the angels. The angels want you to call upon them. Okay? Especially Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel. And the other part that I read, it also has to do with anchoring and calling forth and honoring the 4 elements every day: earth, air, fire, and water. Okay? That's just another thing to incorporate in your centering. Okay? Especially when things get like this for me. Immediately, I call in the 4 elements. Okay? They are what make up everything here. They are Earth's armies, as well as the higher realms. So one of the things that I'll even do is I'll go to the 4 directions. I do my ceremonies. I will always do my ceremonies, but I can do a ceremony like just today. I could just go to the 4 directions in my office and call forth that element and that angel, okay? And utilize that as my circle of light. I can expand that out through my house. I can expand it out around my property, around my car, around the people that I love. Okay? There are other forms that I can call in that I use from, and anybody who wants these, I can send you these as well. Let me see. And these are the guardian kings who stand sentinel on the 4 slopes of Sumeri, Dhṛtarāṣṭra in the east, Virūpākṣa in the south, Virūpākṣa in the west, and Vaiśravaṇa in the north. Furthermore, I invoke the guardians of the world, Rudra, lord over the Gahardavas of the air and the east, Yama, lord over the Kumhardavas of the fire in the south, Varuna, lord over the Nagas of the water in the west, and Kubera, lord over the Yakshas in the north, as well as Agni in the southeast, Neriti in the southwest, Vayu in the northwest, and Asana in the northeast. Together with their consorts do I invoke them, Om Raksha, Raksha, Fat. Okay, these were brought to me by a gentleman that I met when I lived in Long Island, who somehow came across me. And he had like this big bird's nest on his head. That's what his hair was, which I'm sure is a symbol of how much he learned wherever he came from. And he brought me those to work with in my ceremonies. Okay? I have always said whatever news or information I need will find me, no matter where I'm at. Somehow it always finds me. It always comes to me. I don't know where he came from or where he went, or if he simply came to bring me that. But that's not the only experience I've had with beings coming to bring me things. So we are in a time of confronting every single fear that we have. Every single fear you have, you must be confronting. You must be forgiving yourself for creating that pattern, for creating that belief, and transmute it and put it in the violet flame. Every single fear you have, any emotion you have, like that of jealousy, that of whatever the emotions are. Once again, forgive yourself for allowing yourself to believe that, create a pattern in it, and transmute it and put it in the violet. This is very important right now. Confronting all your fears is what gets them out of the way and allows your expansion to take place. Okay, if I'm afraid I'm not good enough, if I'm afraid that other people are going to judge me, if I'm afraid, whatever it is,
Mhm.
work on it. Okay? No matter how small it may seem to you, it's very, very important. Okay, any questions on any of this?
Mm.
Okay, then I'm going to call it a class for today. And I will send you guys this information on that I gave out to you on the Hermetic stuff. Okay?
Yep.
And
Okay.
also where to look for the Mesopotamia stuff on YouTube. If there's anything else you want from me that I've discussed today, let me know and I'll send you that as well.
I think Patty wanted she said which element, direction, and angel goes together, probably in the Hermetic sense.
Oh no, I won't give her the Hermetic sense.
Or
I'll give
whatever.
her what the angels gave me.